Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to see if our farmer Husqvarna 55 can keep up with the high performance 346 XP. This is the original edition, has a muffler mod. And this is our fully built 55 for the horizontal hustle that the Novice Lumberjack's putting on. But today we're going to see just how well we did on this. And we've got a 16-inch 3/8 chain and a 16-inch bar. We'll put down both of these and we'll actually time the cuts. I wanted to show off the log stand that we made. It's the actual racing height. That way we can get some practice in before all of our races. And this is going to be the new setup that I use for actually testing our builds. We're going to use this 346 as a baseline saw, and we're going to compare with the same bar and chain in the same piece of wood whatever build we're testing. So these ones are close in size. This is still, I think, 53cc versus 45. So as we continue down the road, it doesn't matter what build it is, we'll know that 50 cc's need to be 2 times as fast as this. 60 cc's need to be 2.5 times. 70 cc 3 times. The big saws need to be 5 times as fast. That way we can just use just a regular old round chain, just regular 3/8 pitch, and it doesn't matter what piece of wood we test it in. We'll have a control saw and we'll have whatever we're running. Now this one I've had on the dyno. I've ran probably 2 full tanks through testing all sorts of dyno stuff. So I will have the finished build video on this one after the race. It shows all the stuff that's inside. But I wanted to see how it works for our baseline runs here. And it is kind of fun to have this old sleeper looking farm and ranch saw run with or hopefully beat our 346. We know these run cut really well. This one should be mid 3s to high 3 horse range. So what we'll do is we'll see if our sleeper 55 can keep up with this 346. Let me get this bar and chain put on and we'll go make our couple of test cuts. Alright, so we have our 346 all set up. 16-inch bar, 16-inch full-size 3/8 50 chain. This is a steel RS chain. And what we'll do is we'll go make 3 down cuts. And I can time all 3 and I can average it together. And I'll do the same with our 55. So let's make sure this got fuel and oil. And we'll go get those test cuts done. Alright, here's the log stand I wanted to show off anyway. We've got a chunk of cherry up there. It's right at or just over 11 inches across. But we made this stand. This is normal race height. It's right at about 18 inches tall from the ground. Got the turnbuckles and the chains to keep the log nice and sturdy. So this stand here is what we'll be using to test all of our different saws. Keeps it at the right height. So I can also test my starts, my stops, and everything. 3 cuts, 1 cut, everything. I didn't realize how nice it was to have a good stand that holds it. And we also can stake it to the ground if we need to once we find a more permanent spot for it. But for now, for our down cuts, this will work just fine. So we'll get our 346 all warmed up and get those cuts made. Then we'll see what the 55 has. So that's not too bad, and we'll have to compare these cut times to the 55 times. we'll be able to compare those times in a second. But while we were doing test cuts, I wanted to set the 55 up like it will be at the race, which is a 325. And he said he's going to run 20-inch bar. I don't think I have a 20-inch bar here. But I've got a 16-inch bar, and I do have a bigger piece of wood, so we'll probably even bury it. But I want to see how quick this 325 is. This is a 7 currently, versus the 3/8 in that same piece of cherry. And I might try an 8 if I can find one real quick, and see just what the cut times are between this RS Pro 325 chain and the full 3/8 RS chain. So we'll get this all fired up and we'll make those cuts with our 325 setup. Alright, so we'll get this one fired up. I know this one likes to be a bit on the leaner side. Really likes to rev, so that's what we'll let it do. Do the same thing, make 3 cuts with this. We'll just do 2. We'll do 2 cuts with this, see how it does with the 7-pin setup. That felt pretty darn good. We'll have to look at those times and see. Alright, so I got a slightly bigger piece of poplar here. Hopefully this is more similar to what we'll be racing in. So I'll make a couple hits with it, still on our 325/7. That definitely felt a little bit quicker than the cherry. Alright, those cuts went pretty well. Getting a pretty good feel for the 55. And I know this wasn't a totally fair test because 55 is a purpose-built race saw. But it's all fun. Boy, and I'm really hoping that it does well at Bodie's race. I'm going to leave it set up with a 325/7, especially if he's going to bury most of a 20-inch bar. I want that extra gear advantage of the smaller sprocket. We've got plenty RPM, so that should just help it stay up there a little bit better. And this 325 RS Pro chain definitely did the cuts quicker than our full 3/8 RS, but both of them were still pretty respectable. Just going off of the times alone, I'll put up the little clips, but we had 649, 607, 585 were the 3 cuts for the 346. That averages to 6.13 seconds. And for our 55, we had 405, 411, 4.29 seconds for the 55, which averages to 415. So that works out to about 32% more cut speed on the 55 with the same exact bar and chain. And then once we switched it to this bar and chain with the 325 RS Pro, we dropped that time even more. We had 3.32 and 3.33 seconds. So almost a full second quicker than our runs with 3/8. Then that bigger chunk of softwood I have, I want to say it's some kind of poplar or cottonwood. Still plenty dense, but it was 3.2. What were we? We were 3.1, 3.2. That was almost burying the full bar. I'm definitely happy with the way the 55 runs. It's definitely not a saw that you can go cut firewood with. it's pushed, it's built. But once Bodie's Horizontal Hustle is all done, I'll have the full build videos out on this one. But hopefully you enjoyed seeing both of these saws in the wood. Let me know what you think of the log holder. I think that'll definitely help me get better at racing, the starts, the cuts, transitions, everything. That was the whole point of building that. Well, until next time, thanks a lot, everyone.